Do you know your worth? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 67 of our Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge. Financial month and financial earnings week all this week. We're going to talk about earning, and today's topic starts with, do you know your worth? As a company, as an organization, as a transformational product or service provider, do you actually know what your products and services are worth? And we're going to talk about a little bit about pricing here too. Let me put my coffee down a second. So have you or somebody in your organization, do they have their finger on the pulse of what it is that you provide for people, and is it priced appropriately? Now, we can have interesting discussions about pricing. This is an area where I've got lots of experience in a lot of different industries. And one of the things I find is that the vast majority of people actually totally underprice and undervalue what it is that they have to offer. Of course, there are a few that are into the luxury market, and we can charge whatever we want, and the more we make it sound good. And again, that's a marketing thing, right? Most of the products and services that we need, want, and desire fall into a range of pricing. And depending on your industry, there's a range of, what people will pay for different things is what and how we should really determine the price. But are we presenting what it is that we offer people in a way that appeals to them and encourages them to pay the value that we're giving to them in terms of the price? And again, this is a big discussion, not anything we're going to cover today in detail, because it's like a weekend workshop or a 2 to 3 day workshop, this topic alone. But we have to know, as a participant in our organization, we just talked about this a few days ago, are you paying yourself first? Are you actually being compensated? And it depends on the stage of your business that you're in. In the beginning, most of us don't take paychecks, and we're just building, and reinvesting in the business. But as it grows and builds and supersizes and scales, we need to make sure that we're being fairly compensated. And it doesn't mean we're gouging the company. It means we're being fairly compensated. So if you're working 10 hours a week in the company, should you be making 6 or 7 figures in profit? Maybe, but not as salary. And then your IRS agents will get all over you for that. Long story short. So today, think about and do some research if you haven't done it yet, and then be honest with, what am I putting into it and what am I getting out? And if that seems fair and feels fair, and again, it's going to depend on the stage of your business, what is fair and what isn't fair to you. And then how you receive that. Again, really huge topic. And ask yourself a couple of questions today after you do that research. Does it seem like, for my industry, for what I'm doing, I am being fairly compensated? And if it is, celebrate that and be really delighted and happy. If it isn't, look for ways and brainstorm ways to restructure the situation so that you do feel better about it. Because you know what? If you are not paying yourself, if you are not being fairly or more than fairly compensated for what you're putting in to your business, guess what? You will lose your energy and enthusiasm for putting anything into your business, which is one of the most common reasons for failure, for business failures, is that the truth is the owner just gives up. The owner just says, it's not worth it anymore. I'm not going to do it. And that is really the true reason most businesses fail, because almost anything you can create a business out of and make money if that's your goal, and make it be sustainable. But you have to want to do it. You have to want to do the things that aren't fun, right? Because every business has things we love to do in it and things we don't love to do in it. And in the beginning, you can't really farm out everything. So you have to do a lot of those things yourself. I like doing, when I'm starting new things, certain things myself too, so I can document the process and then train someone to do it in a way that will match my expectations. That's the fastest, easiest way to create and get your expectations met. And then once you grow and put systems and people and teams in place, it just gets better and better. So find out if you are being compensated fairly, and if not, what are you going to do about that? Do the research so that you actually feel good about it. And guess what? You might find that you're being really fairly compensated for what it is you do and how you do it in your industry. Every industry is different, right? Every single one. And every business in every industry is different. So I'm not encouraging you to compare yourself to others. I'm encouraging you to just do a little research and know where you're at and know where you're landing. And if you're not landing where you want to land, then some changes need to be made. One of the things I learned in 35 years in the Italian food manufacturing business is I sucked at raising prices. I always felt guilty about raising prices. I wanted everybody to enjoy our products, and I wanted it to be affordable for everyone. We made a super duper premium product by hand, and ingredient prices were rising all the time. Fuel prices were rising all the time and being passed on to us as part of our raw materials. And I needed to raise prices far more often. And I had one client, I'll just tell this story quick, that refused to recognize our price increase for a year. And I ended up letting that client go, letting that customer go. They were our biggest customer. And at the time, it was one of the scariest things I ever did. But within 3 months, we had that volume and more back. And we weren't dealing with our most difficult, most challenging customer. So it was win-win-win all around for us. And I was like, why hadn't I done this sooner? You know, you ever have one of those things where, you know, you need to deal with it, but you put it off and put it off and put it off, and you think they're going to come around and think they're going to come around, and they just don't. And that's what happens when you have power dynamics in different businesses and different industries. We were a small business at the time, and they were a big business at the time. And they had merged with another organization. It was a grocery store chain. And they just said, no, we're not going to admit it. We're not going to acknowledge it. And I'm sure that the manager who did that got a bonus from his company because he saved them a year of price increases. Yikes. Again, not all businesses are in the up and ethical and moral and have the same values that we do. And that's why we pick and choose who we're going to do business with. It's one of the powers and one of the best things about having your own business. So our share question today, I'm not going to do reflective questions today. I think you get this. I think that this, if you haven't done it or aren't doing it, is a big enough exercise that you don't need anything more to do today. But share in the comments below if you have ever negotiated for yourself a higher salary or more earnings, or for your business if you've ever raised your prices. Don't be like Sharon. Don't put it off. Do it as soon as you know you need to. And there's a lot of industries that have this built in. Hey, we automatically do a raise of our prices every quarter or every year. And I would say if your pricing is on the low side, guess what? That's not doing you any favors. If you're not the lowest price competitor, you might as well be on the top end or the highest, because everything in the middle just gets lost. So that's my philosophy anyway. It's actually my experience. I don't think you necessarily need to be super duper high end costing. It depends on your industry, depends on your business. Some businesses can create that. Some businesses, it's a little bit more challenging. All right, I digress. Love to know if you've ever successfully done that, and share your tips in the comments below. My tips were always just do your homework, and if you have data to back up what you're asking for, your request is much more likely to be accepted than if you don't have anything and you're just going in with an emotional plea. I will contend emotional pleas never work. They don't work on me. They never work for me. So why would I even try to do that? I am a definite data-backed, get the information, just the facts, ma'am, type of person. And that served me really, really well. I could talk about earnings negotiations, but that is a topic for another day. All right. Have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, just hit me up and ask. Otherwise, I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.